Well, hello everyone, and my guest today is none other than my fishing partner of more than 30 years, the one, the only, Sir Michael Brown, the Duke. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thanks, mate. Really well.
Well, Mick's here today to answer some questions about our recent series, Ultimate Rod Race, which you can actually watch here on this channel exclusively. We filmed it just over a year ago, and it is a big hit. So what I thought we'd do is to talk about why we did the thing in the first place, going back on the road after 20 odd years to take on another fishing challenge, absolutely preposterous. How we actually did it and how we feel about it now, what we wish we'd included in there or done, you know, what we might regret, etc. So we're going to break that down by watching some of our favourite clips. And before I get into the chat with you, Mick, I think we'll just watch the first clip now, which is right at the start of Ultimate Rod Race. And I'll set the scene. We're at Loch Ken in Scotland, about to embark on the whole thing, which will see us travelling 1,000 miles to Falmouth, fishing along the way. So this is right at the beginning. And we both took some time out to explain why we were doing it.
Well, you know, Matt and I, we're like an old couple, really. We've been together for a big proportion of our adult lives, and you know, I can honestly say we've never fell out over anything seriously, you know, because we both share the same interests and values. And if this is the last thing I ever do professionally with Matt, you know, I'll still be happy because we've done so much. We've got so much behind us, and you never know, we might do it again, but let's get this one out of the way first. It's not over yet.
It's been a long time since we've done this, and it is a bit trepidatious because I really want it to succeed and I want the programme to be everything that the viewers want it to be. So I'm a bit nervous as well, but it's great to be back together with Mick and the guys again from the team. And if anything, it's so exciting because this is like bigger and better than ever we've done it before. You know, we've got underwater cameramen working with us and a really committed team of people. I think it's going to be a great series. It's got great rules. It's got Mick. We're on the road together for 6 weeks. What's not to like, really? You know.
So there you are, mate. That was very early in. I think my favourite phrase there was you referred to us as an old married couple.
I did, you know, and I think probably our wives would have something to say about that. But and we have spent a lot of time together, but you know, not doing the things that married couples do, of course, but yeah. But we you know, we've had some laughs. We've had, you know, it's a serious business making films, but you know, we've had fun. We've had laughs along the way, and you know, we've got so many memories now to look back on, you know, and you know, we're going to recall some of them for you today.
Yeah, we are, and I think actually for our next clip, which we'll come to in a moment, we kind of get into the intricacies of rod race and, you know, the tactical side of how it works, really. So, you know, it's not just a made-up challenge for TV. It's a challenge that you've actually got to do. So, in the first place, it has to be realistic. But it isn't just about, it's not just totally reliant on the capture of big fish. Small fish play just as important a role in rod race as some of the bigger ones. And we're going to come back to this in a minute. We'll watch the clip now, Mick, and then we'll talk about this. This is the clip where I try and take the opportunity of catching a rough from the loch, and I explain why, in the company of my good friend Jamie, who I've fished and filmed with or photographed with before. So here we go. We're on the shores of Loch Ken. I'm about to try and catch a really ugly little fish, probably the ugliest one in the loch, but it's really important.
Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one, Matt.
Thanks, mate. Well, this is Jamie Woods, and let me tell you, we've come up here to Loch Ken, and without him, I don't think we'd be doing this because there is so much to organise, and this man's been amazing. I've known him for quite a long time, so it's your fault we're here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, I'm just nicking temporarily, old boy. your short little drop shot rod, which you've put a dinky little lead on, because you caught a couple of rough this morning, didn't you?
Yeah, a couple of rough,
On the
couple of
maggot.
perch, yeah.
So I'm going to nick your spot. I mean, it's just blatant, isn't it? You've marked the spot for me. I'm going to go on the jetty. I'll just give it an hour. If we could get a rough, the way I see it is we won't get a rough anywhere else. So it could be borderline doing this. So it could all come down to the rough, and I want to knock it off the list. Signal crayfish. I'm going to try and wind it in. Come on. Oh no, it's turned into a rough. Might not be though. Something else. Oh! There it is. There it is. Well, you might be thinking that ridiculous looking little fish there is worth nothing, but let me tell you, for me, that is likely to be the rarest fish of the series, because I don't think we'll get a rough anywhere else, and there's not many of them around these days.
So, Sorrel, there you go. I went out on that occasion and I caught, a really tiny, ugly fish, the rough. But it was important, and sometimes the small fish are as important in rod race as the big ones, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we both realised that, I mean, my time came later on when I had to catch a small fish. But, it's not all about catching big fish. If you love fishing, you can find some interesting pleasure of catching all the species, large or small. And, I love a session catching gudgeon, and I do a lot of roach fishing. A lot of people don't realise. And I'm not after 2-pounders and 3-pounders. I just love roach fishing. I love building the swim up and watching the float go on there. So, big or small, I'll take them all.
Yeah, and the thing with rod races, especially when it's based on a points-based system like Ultimate Rod Race was, every time we caught a new species, it was automatically worth 50 points. Now, we needed 1,000 points to actually complete our mammoth journey down to Falmouth in Cornwall, and the way we could get points was either by catching a new species. So the first one was worth 50 points, plus a point for every pound in weight. So if you caught a 7-pound pike, 57 points. But if your next pike was a 10-pounder, it's only worth 10 points because you only get the 50 once. So therefore, a tiny little fish like a rough can be worth 50 points. I mean, it didn't even weigh a pound, so it was worth 50 points. But the point is, we'd have had to catch 50 pounds of other fish to have achieved the same points total. So, that's just for clarification of how rod race works and why taking the time out is so important. Mick, one of my favourite moments, I think, was when we were chasing stone loach and bullheads in Great Rod Race, and also that stickleback on a matchstick. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, catching the bullhead and the stone loach, I remember us going out. I can't remember how we had the idea, but we went down a part of the river where we remember seeing them as kids. And
no, it was by my house.
Yeah, that's right.
It was about 100 metres from my back door.
Exactly. I mean, where you lived in England, I used to go fishing down there when I was a lad, long before I met you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I, turning stones over and finding the bullheads. And, but, we were like two little kids, out in, I mean, it was in the early hours of the morning. We're out there with the torch on, and it was a lovely night, and the river was low, and, it didn't take us long. And sure enough, the bullheads were there, but, it's a species that most anglers won't even see, but, unless you turn the stones over, which we did. Great
well,
fun.
It was. I mean, actually, I think it brings me nicely, that nostalgic influence. I think if there's something that people associate with me and you, it is a certain amount of nostalgia of the old fishing values, the old school, if you like. But I think a lot of it is also about humour. And, these are natural length episodes, Ultimate Rod Race. We didn't put a time confinement on them because we wanted them to breathe for as long as the story held up. And early on, when we were extremely rusty, I mean, literally we'd been filming for maybe an hour or two. So after 20 odd years of not doing this, right? So we're very rusty. And Mick caught this pike, and this is what happened.
Oh, that was fun.
I'm going to lift it. It's actually bigger than I thought.
Way! Christ! Do you want me to display it?
Right, there it is. I reckon it's a bit bigger than you think, but I'm going to hold it.
Tell you what, why don't you kneel down with it?
I'm going to hold it closer to this soft grass.
That's a good idea. That's what you should have done. It's got your bloody hoodie now, you idiot. It's oh my.
You did say you wanted calm.
Let go.
I can't let go, Christ.
Okay, right. There you are.
You
right.
did say this was a
When you're ready.
comedy.
When you're ready. 3, 2, 1.
Right, here we go. Hang on, my knee's going. Right.
Yeah, I mean several times to
Very lively
get to
lock
this
pike.
stage.
And should we give it £8, £9?
Oh, I'm going to give you 9, mate. I think it's a 9.
9 miles, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice end to the day. I think that might be the last fish, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's certainly a fiasco. I think you can put that one
Yeah.
back, but I'm delighted.
Right, okay.
Despite your buffoonery, I'm delighted.
I'm going to try and slip it back like this.
Oh, well, you can try.
Yeah,
So,
a neat return is always important.
when was exactly the last time that you did some filming?
Well, I don't do as much fishing or filming as I used to, but
Still, you've still got it, mate.
I've remembered how to catch them, but the rest
Still
of
got
it...
it, old son, so... It's good to be back on the road with you, mate.
You haven't had so much fun since we last filmed, have you?
No, I haven't. It's true.
All joking apart, that was a seriously lively pike, wasn't it? And I've handled loads of them, but that one, it was just, couldn't hang on to it. Happens sometimes.
We've had a great first day.
We
I mean,
have.
let's be serious for a minute. I think you've had about 15 pound of fish. Don't forget, I've probably caught about 5 pounds of roach and other bits.
Yeah.
So basically, you've got 20 pound of fish plus 150. It's 170 points, mate.
Yeah.
For a few hours fishing, you can't knock that.
let's call it 170.
Yeah.
And then we've got tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, we'll sort it out at the camp
Yeah.
and we'll go out and get some chips.
Yeah, we're on track anyway,
I'm
aren't
having a savloid on it.
we? Oh, yeah, I'm having a pickled onion.
So
Well,
I'd still laugh at that now, and I've seen it hundreds of times.
I'll smile in myself. I'll put my hands up. It was a total fiasco, but you know, we have a lot of those little fiascos, but you know, it just brings in that element of fun into the fishing. You know, I mean, if it had been another £8 pike and we'd have reeled it in and put it back, it wouldn't have been that interesting. But the fact that he did try and pull some of my clothing off in the process just added to the fun, really. But you know, you can't script these things, and all the funny things that have happened in the shows that we've done in the past, they've just happened. You know, you can't script it, but they're probably the sort of things that happen to you. You know, but when you're on the bank with your mates, you know, you're probably having all these little you know, interesting and humorous episodes.
I think you've nailed it. I think that's why a lot of people sort of grew up watching us. It was because it, you know, reflected back the way they behave with their mates. So, you know, I think if I can give us credit for anything, mate, it is being down to earth at the very least. I don't think either of us have ever lost our rougher edges. And we're going on a bit now. But anyway, I think the other thing that was nice about filming this series of RodRace, we were both very relaxed about it because I think we were doing it for all the right reasons, which was basically to spend a load of time fishing together and enjoy the company, and that was the main thing. But the team that we got together, which consisted of, on that particular trip, if you remember, we had Ryan Warner, who was just an amazing drone pilot. I mean, some of the stuff he got was sensational. But Ryan was also the location manager, so he was responsible for power and wiring and battery charging and making sure we got food and fuel and whatever we needed Ryan basically, we used 2 of his vans. One was converted into a wonderful mobile home for me and the Duke to enjoy the journey in a complete state of wonderful luxury. I mean, it was fantastic. And then Ryan himself drove along with a van absolutely crammed to the gunwales with tackle everywhere we went. And it was a great time. I mean, let's have a look actually at the guys, not just Ryan, but also Tom Balaam, our series photographer, and Mark Barrow, who's our underwater cameraman, and the Duke himself, of course, and Johnny, our cameraman, who in fact has filmed every series of RodRace right from the start, all the way through 24-hour RodRace and right the way up and into this series of Ultimate RodRace. So it's been an amazing relationship. Anyway, let's just join the boys on my tour of the camp.
Well, it's a lovely morning and the lads are up and about. We've got a full day ahead of us, and I thought you might be interested in actually seeing the camp and where we're living. So as you can see, this is Sir M's luxury quarters. He's got a large space, several duvets down there, pillows, his mobile phone, his stash of food that he's nicked out of everybody else's. The biscuits are probably stuffed under the mattress, etc. And then I'm crammed up in what we call the Black Hole of Calcutta upstairs, which is a sort of coffin really, a rather dark one. But I enjoy it, and it's very cosy, and we've been perfect. We've got power. We'll be packing this lot away. All of this will be gone in about 2 days' time. We'll be moving on, but it's a brilliant camp. You've got the lads here working away. We've got Tom, he's here doing our photography and social media. You've got Mark, our underwater cameraman from beneath British waters. You've got some itinerant tramp that we picked up on the road yesterday, and we felt sorry for him, so we brought him in, and he's been here ever since. But as you can see, this is how we roll. Some of the lads sleep in the bivvies, as you can see. Me and the Duke in there. I don't know where Ryan is at the moment. He's probably out getting something. But we've got 2 vans, the ones we're sleeping in, this one to haul all the kit. And then come over here and look at this. This boat here was lent to us by Marine Power over in the east side of the country. It's fitted with the most amazing electronics, which I still haven't figured out how to use yet, but we will get to grips with it. And the whole thing, it's we're ready to go. We've got everything we need here, you know, to take any type of fishing on. We've got a huge mountain of tackle, but it's very exciting. It really is.
So there you go, mate. I mean, happy days, weren't they, really?
They were, and you know, Ryan, he did an amazing job. And if I'm honest, I think we put too much on him. I think we should have at least had somebody to deal with the catering and the cleaning. I mean, we tried to keep the van as clean as possible, but I can only apologise, Ryan, that it probably smelled like we'd had cats in there afterwards. But you know, it's all over now. And anyway, certainly thanks to Ryan and everybody else who helped out as well. You know, it was a really good team this time.
I think it was a great team. And we were stretched, but you've got to remember that this was volunteer funded. So basically, you know, we didn't have a great big TV budget to make this on, but we had people of that ilk who basically we only got because they volunteered to do it. And, you know, without that kind of generosity, we would never have made Ultimate RodRace. So I think that's important to say. So moving on, Mick, I mean, we came out of Loch Hen in a good position. I won't spoil it for you if you've not seen the series. Remember, all 6 episodes, which are an hour or more long in some cases, they're all available on this channel. There is a playlist. It's called Ultimate RodRace. And all you've got to do to watch it is just click the play button. Moving on, after Loch Hen, we travelled from west to east and we moved across country onto the River Trent. Now, that was interesting for me because it was the first time that I'd actually fished the Trent. I had actually fished it once, many years before, but not for barbel, as I was fishing it this time. So I found it an absolutely fascinating place. But again, one of the most memorable things about it was the camp. And in this particular episode, I decided that to keep the Duke's morale up, I needed to cook him a good breakfast. But of course, that meant cooking it for everyone else in the crew as well.
There's loads of other things that go on, you know, around the shoot, and this is just a part of it. But for me, when you're doing a road trip with a group of guys and they're a brilliant team, you know, enjoy it. Smell the coffee along the way, that's what I say, and taste the bacon sandwiches. It's the way to start the day. Do you reckon they're cooked all right, Tom? I do. What do you think, Rye? Well, go on, bite it then and tell me. What are you smelling it for? I'll tell you what, I definitely don't want to give the crew botulism, but I have to look after my director. Here you are, Mr. Director. Here's your sandwich. Where are you? There you are.
Oh. Well, I'm all ready to start the day. I've got my rods out, nice cup of coffee, and Matthew is making me a bacon sandwich. I mean, living like a lord, aren't I? Well, more like a duke, I suppose.
You know, mate, get your laughing gear around that. I've made it a bit crispy for you.
Good, good.
And I'll give you a tea cosy for your pepper pot later on.
Right. Yeah, can you get me a hot towel as well?
No, piss off.
Okay. It's hard work, this filming. I'm only fussy when my porridge is concerned.
Hey?
You know, and I like a plum in my porridge, but...
Well, you're not having a plum. Because I couldn't get any plums at the car. They were all out of plums.
Were they?
Would you believe it? Well, actually, there is a Portuguese plum shortage.
Is there really?
Yeah, I read about it in the paper the other day. So the only action you're going to get with plums is if somebody kicks you in the plums.
Or I could be plumbing the depth.
Morally, I think you do that regularly as well.
Yeah. God, he's a cheeky young whippersnapper.
So there you go, Sir M. I've got to say, actually, it wasn't the best bacon sandwich I'd ever made, but I'd got brioche buns. Ryan brought those, and they were just sweet and horrible.
Oh, believe me, Matt, you might not think so, but, you know, a bacon sandwich, when you're on the bank, you know, in the fresh air down by the river, it doesn't matter how it's cooked or who's cooked it, it's just nectar, isn't it? You know, it's...
It certainly is.
Yeah, I'll make the sandwiches next time, mate, okay?
How many times have I heard that one before? I wish. I'm just going along at my list now. So we're going to come back a couple of steps, because when we were talking about Scotland, we were talking about the importance of catching the smallest, ugliest fish in the loch. Now, I wouldn't say this is the ugliest fish in the river, but it is pretty small. So it was obvious when we went to the Trent and we worked with the Nottingham Piscatorials, who were fantastic and control a lot of fishing on that very beautiful stretch of the river. It was day ticket though. Where I fished was day ticket, and where Mick fished was day ticket. It wasn't reserved, it wasn't pre-baited. We just went in, paid our money and took our chances. The only shortcut we got was that they allowed us to drive up to the swims because of all the equipment we'd got. So anyway, I drew the plum thing really because I got the job of going for the barbel, mainly because we decided to attack the poundage in weight. We knew that at certain points on the journey that we would have to catch, not only maximise our points in terms of new species, but we would have to get some decent bags of fish to get us over the line, and we were pretty spot on. So I mean, this one, Mick, you drew the short straw really. What was your bit about?
Well, you know, I mean, I love fishing for barbel, I love catching barbel, But, you know, we can't both do the same thing. You know, it'd look boring anyway, and we wouldn't achieve the result of getting the other species. And I didn't mind. And talking about pre-baiting, I wish somebody had pre-baited with pinkies for the gudgeon, because I thought it'd be easy to catch a gudgeon, but it was actually quite difficult. But I've always had a soft spot for gudgeon, because the first entry in my fishing diary when I was a teenager, I caught a half-ounce gudgeon from the Grand Union Canal, and that was how it started for me. And but you know, gudgeon, if you look closely at them, they're really beautiful species. And if they grew bigger, you'd really start to see that. But you know, in this case, it needed to get 50 points to get us on the way, and it did that. There's no point adding the weight on. I think it was about 4 drams or something.
But it wasn't. I mean, if you remember, it wasn't just gudgeon actually, because you got a bleak as well, didn't you?
Yeah. Now the bleak. Now that should have been very, very easy, because you fish maggots on the Trent or any of the Midland rivers, and the first thing is you're plagued by bleak. But I was getting little chublets, teeny dace, and but you know, I was fishing high in the water, no weight on the line, thinking I'd get one easy. But eventually I got one, and we filmed it, and shortly afterwards I got another one. But you know, little teeny fish like that, and it took us 50 miles, and we knew then with what we'd got with the barbel and the gudgeon, we were well on our way. I did fail in some respects, because I did try for a zander and an eel, and all I got was a pike to show for my efforts. But you know, you can't win every time. But the main thing is we got enough to get on our way.
Well, of course, I mean, we knew the venues that we targeted in advance. And so when we looked at the possible species, we knew that the only place we were likely to catch a gudgeon for the rest of the trip was on the Trent. And the only place we were likely to catch an eel was probably on the Trent. And it was like that for every venue. We did have a game plan. I mean, you know, we kind of war gamed this night after night on the phone. What about if this doesn't happen? Which species can we really, you know, what about at this time of year? How many we can catch here? And eventually I can remember saying to Mick, you know, we're going to need about 14 or 15 species and a few £100 of fish. And I'll tell you what, mate, I was close, wasn't I? In my estimation, I was close.
Yeah, very close. I mean, there was times, which we'll probably talk about later, where we were wondering whether we would do it, even though we'd had a reasonable start. There was a bit of trepidation ahead of us, but I won't say too much about that at this stage. But I think we left the Trent feeling pretty pleased with ourselves, don't you think that?
Well, I think so. I mean, from a personal viewpoint, you know, the challenge is one thing, but sometimes you're doing RodRace and the fishing is just so good. You know, I've done a lot of barbel fishing in my life, but we fished there for less than 1.5 days. We had an evening, and then we had the next day. And in that time, I caught £200 of barbel. And whichever way up you look at it, that's good going. In fact, I'll tell you what, before we move on to the next part of the journey, why don't we just have a look at that special barbel I caught, which was just part of the catch.
No, it's not foul hooked. It's just a big fish. Oh my word. Sorry. Oh, that's a big one. Crumbs. Oh my lord. Yes, I've got it. Oh wow, well that's a lovely fish. Oh blimey, that's got some weight. Whew. Well that's a pig, that one. Let's get this unhooked first.
Got a fish for the eel. Well, I think we're going the right way now, mate. We're heading towards the Broads. I know this looks like the middle of nowhere, and it is, but I do think this is the right way, Sir Em.
Hey, look at all them taters.
A big pile of potatoes on the left-hand side.
You wouldn't go hungry in Norfolk, would you?
No, not at all. Well, Sir Em, another adventure begins.
Yeah. Let's see what the evening brings.
Indeed. I've never been on the Broads before. It's nice, isn't it?
Well, I've not been for many a year, but it's always been nice.
Yeah.
The fishing can be up and down, but it's a nice place to be, isn't it?
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Loch Hen's gone well, Trent's gone great. Then we're on the Broads, and the Broads was difficult in my opinion because the window had reduced quite severely on the species of fish that we really needed to pick off there. For example, we'd already caught perch and pike on Loch Hen, so there was no 50-pointer there. There was an outside chance of a 50-pointer maybe on a mullet, something exotic like that. I mean, we'd done bream. That was the other thing. We'd already caught bream on Loch Hen, so we were committed to doing it. We wanted to catch some big perch. I mean, boy, did we catch some big perch. But we wanted to go. It was a tribute to John Wilson as well. You know, I'd announced that we'd do that as a tribute to John because both Mick and I knew him well, and well, not very well, but we knew him well enough. You know, he's a great guy, great broadcaster. So we felt it was a good way of paying homage to John, and we just decided to go with the flow in the end and just enjoy the journey. So the thing that struck me about the Broads, Mick, the clip that we've got coming up now, I think kind of sums up the enormity of the task. Just watch this.
It's like coming into like some little hidden world.
Yeah, it's like the
It's
lost
like all
world,
these
isn't it?
Channels and trees in the water. There's so many places that could hold fish.
Yeah.
This is going to be blooming tricky, mate. It's an incredible place.
Well, the trouble is there's too many places where the fish can hide.
Needle in a haystack,
You know,
innit?
there won't be fish in every feature.
Yeah, look, it's like coming into a lake
Oh,
now.
look at this. I believe, Matt, that all this was dug out for the peat that's
Was it?
under the ground, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I mean, it's hundreds of years ago.
So there you go. The Norfolk Broads, massive landscape, wasn't it? I mean, you know, you described it well, but my word, it's a needle in a haystack, isn't it?
It is, and it's one of those situations that does demand local knowledge because you're looking at a vast water system. And I mean, I fished it extensively in the 80s for pike. Had some great times in those days. I didn't expect us to go there to my old haunts and catch them again because so much has changed. And I didn't have that local knowledge to put me on pike. But of course, when we got to the river, I thought we might fish for pike and perch, but we were told that to get the pike fishing, it just ain't as good as it was in that area anymore. And so there was the perch to go at. And, you know, they're not going to add a lot to our journey, but we were there and we made the most of it. And my goodness, did we catch some perch. It was amazing fishing, wasn't it, Matt?
It's off the spool, dragged by the current. But if I stop it, it stops the float. The bait rises slightly in the water. And I let it go again, it drops back down. What I'm doing is just easing it just above the bottom. And it's rising and falling, fluttering if you like, and that's very attractive to the perch. And that's called trotting the swim.
We need to one on the dead bait again, mate.
Well done, Mick.
I managed to
God,
get
we're
it.
having a day and a half here, mate.
Well, I managed to get me bait within about 10 inches of the bush. I was very fortunate to not stag up actually, but I tell you what, as soon as the dead bait hit the bottom, the bloody perch had it.
Well, it could be another good one, mate.
You never know, it might be a pike.
I'll tell you what, the way that's fighting, mate, that could be the biggest one of all. Well, it's
Fucking
a good one. Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is a good one, isn't it?
It's another 3-pounder, mate, I'm telling you.
There's one for everyone. That's a nice fish, isn't it?
That's a big fish, yeah.
Let's have a look, Matt.
Let me see where they're...
It's a shame we got no scales in there. Oh, Christ, that's...
What a day this is, Mick. It's another 3-pluser, my friend.
Oh. I mean, do you know, if you ever came down to the Norfolk Broads for some pleasure fishing, out in the boat, catching fish like this, it's just the perfect holiday for an angler, isn't
Look
it?
at the vermilion fins, the way they're shot through with colour. It's absolutely exquisite, that. It's a beautiful fish, mate.
It's definitely over £3, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, my little 3-inch roach, it would have gone in there without touching the sides, wouldn't it?
Swallow a half-pound fish easy.
That perch that you had on the dead bait, I think it was over £4. If it wasn't, it was very close. And we undercooked the size of all of those perch, you know. We had some absolute stonkers. And by the way, we didn't have time to include all of them, every fish that we caught in the show. We did catch more perch and some other big ones too, didn't we?
We did, and I mean, the perch were really tight under a bush in that particular swim. And the secret was getting really close to the bush. That seemed to be where the bigger ones were. And I think I only got about 6 or 7 baits. And every one was taken by a perch. And as Matt says, we didn't film them all. And they were all decent sized fish. I do regret not weighing some of them because, as Matt said, I'm not going to put numbers on it, but they were pretty big. And the other thing I found was we got the cameraman in the boat and it felt quite cramped. And I felt it wrong to mess around getting the sling and the scales out. We'd already held the perch up, you know, to get them photographed. And it just seemed the right thing to do, to slip them back. And, you know, we can always go back and catch them again if we want to.
Well, I think that's spot on. And it didn't actually quite come across in the footage, but I think you can see it towards the end of the episode where I'd had a rough night in the van, you know, hadn't had a shave for a couple of days and was really looking quite sweaty, I felt, and feeling quite unclean. And because it was filthy hot and it was all building towards the weather breaking, which it did quite dramatically after on the day that we were about to leave. But we'll come to that just in a second. I think the other thing that's interesting for people to look at in that episode, there's so many layers in each episode. There's humour, there's poignancy, there's, I'd say, some wisdom, some clowning around, some nostalgia. This is quite unlike any other fishing film you're likely to watch on YouTube, to be honest, because it's a proper adventure and it just goes on the directions, you know, that it should, and it's a bit special actually. But anyway, we featured some of the latest technology in fishing when we were perch fishing. Now, I've got to say, we didn't really use the technology to either find or catch those perch, but it did record the fact that they were there. I mean, Mick, what do you think about the anchor lock thing and the live view? Let's just watch the clip first, and then when we come back, I'll get your kind of hindsight on it.
How's that, Matt?
It looks good. Are we anchor locked now? Okay.
Yes, we're anchor locked.
I can actually see shoals of fish on the camera, and they're moving, so they have to be fish. They're not all on the bottom, but most of them are concentrated around the bottom. I can see that it's just over 10 feet deep, 10.5 feet deep, and there are fish down there. So it's a game changer, isn't it, really?
So the Duke, you've seen the clip again. What's your view now on this live view, the anchor lock technology? What do you think, mate?
Well, you know, let's look at the advantages of it. And I mean, you know, river fishing, you know, it's brilliant from the bank, but you try using your ledger, your feeder tactics from a boat. It's impossible normally, but we could actually hold the boat still enough to fish a feeder as though we were sitting on the bank. The boat was that still. And I just think that's a wonderful thing. It allows you to practice a technique that you love out in the river instead of, you know, being bank bound. But the other thing is, I think it's the key to tackling big waters where you'd never have a chance, you know, without it. And you don't automatically go out emptying the place, but it gives you a much better chance of locating fish and holding the boat in the position where they are and fishing for them. And of course, people are doing it on monstrous waters out in Europe now and Scandinavia, and catching fish that probably would never, ever see the light of day without it. You know, and it's showing us what is actually in these waters. It's the future. I'm probably too old to invest in it, but you know, I wish I was young enough, and I'd probably get a boat like that myself.
Yeah, I mean, my view is that the anchor lock thing is really, really great, because you know, your line doesn't get caught under the boat or around the anchor chain, which is a familiar problem. And some days, you know, on those big trout resi, you'd be double anchored, you know, and it is dangerous if you're dragging a drogue in an anchor or you know, and your drogue drops in the water or whatever. It can be quite dangerous if the anchor just gets stuck on something or your drogue gets snagged. Both ways you can have the boat over. So, you know, I think that's great. The live view side of it, I've got reservations about. I think if I was starting my fishing career now and wanted to compete with all the whippersnappers, who are doing a great job, by the way. You know, I mean, there's a lot of really good talent on YouTube and people who are doing, you know, just as great things as Mick and I were back in the day. So let me say that. But there is a lot of pressure and there's a lot of competition. And I think competing with other people who use live view and stubbornly refusing almost condemns you to a certain amount of failure. So it is quite a controversial subject, but we've got to move on. So next, Sir Michael, we're moving on to Homersfield. And I think Homersfield, for me, was quite an emotional episode. The fishing for me was actually quite, I mean, for both of us, it was pretty terrible. We just hit a brick wall with the weather. We went from boiling hot, where we'd been fishing on the Broads, like high 20s and massive humidity, to easterly winds and absolutely freezing cold. I mean, a serious temperature drop. And it just killed the carp fishing on the lake pretty much. And everything else that went with it. It was just really, really unfortunate. And I felt that we were going to get derailed at that point. Having made all that good progress, it really felt like, you know, we were going to be derailed. But then right at the 11th hour, and this was not scripted, this is not, you know, editing where we'd messed around with the timings. We stuck it out till the last possible minute in hopeless conditions. And at the last possible minute, the impossible happened. I think my reaction there, if you watch the whole thing till the end, like I just felt the whole weight of everybody's expectation, the crowdfunder and the money that people have put in. I just felt all that just fell away from my shoulders when you caught that fish. I think it was one of the great RodRace moments, but I think it was made even greater by the fact, you know, for me it was very, very emotional. How about you?
Oh yes, certainly. I mean, to some extent, I was confident I would catch one, but I was beginning to doubt myself at one stage. I've got a set procedure in my mind for catching catfish, and I went through it all with the different baits, luncheon meat, pellets on kebab rigs, and I got one more thing up my sleeve, and I thought, well, I've had this before, you know, catfishing is quite predictable, especially where there's a lot of bait going in right through the summer and into September, but when you start creeping into October, as we were, sometimes it just dies, and I've had that happen a lot of times on a lot of waters, and I knew, you know, it was sink or bust now. You know, I've done everything I could. I've got my bait exactly where I wanted it on some nice gravel. I managed to get a few free offerings around it, And I was also going back to where I put the bait the night before. There was no point moving to another swim. I put bait in that swim. Had they gone on it overnight? And it didn't take long before got that magic sound of the bait runner started to whir and scream. And then when you bend into a cat, I've caught so many, dozens and dozens of big cats, but there's nothing like it. And I just, inside I felt, I've done it, and we could move on, without that, I don't know what we'd have done. Would we have stayed in the same place for another day? Or would we have moved on having, not enough weight? But, and I could see Matt, because Matt's bearing a lot more responsibility than me, he's producing the series. And I could see the relief, coming to Matt's face, and it was just a moment of celebration. I think we went out and we had a Chinese afterwards, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And for me, it was the pressure came off because I knew that we'd done it. And I don't mean we'd done the challenge. Actually, we hadn't. Because this turn in the weather, which in certain parts of the country also brought with it massive rain and flooding, particularly where we wanted to go, which was the River Nene. And it was on the journey. We got access to a couple of belting stretches, which gave us a shot at some pretty decent fish, excuse me, including a big chub, which would have been very, very nice. But that got rained off at the last minute. So to walk away from Homersfield with that 50 points, and then don't forget the weight of the catfish on top of that, almost 100-point fish basically. I knew then we'd got a series. Whatever happened, even if we failed in the challenge, I knew we'd got a series. And so I went away a relieved man. But then we had to detour. We had to cancel the plan to go to the River Nene. And we ended up fishing at Furnace Mill, our old friend Ed Brown's place, which is the only commercial fishery that we actually visited during the series, and it holds a large number of species. But there was only a few limited ones that we needed to catch, and they're quite heavily outnumbered by certain other species. So we had to be a bit surgical, which we were, and we got the job done. But we had great fun, didn't we, Mick? I mean, first of all, we had another famous breakfast. I mean, just take a look.
Oh, lovely. Big old slop bucket full there. Chamber pot full there, sir.
Go on, bait it, can you?
My granddad used to have a chamber pot,
Did he?
Yeah. We used to hear him in the morning. One of the things I'm trying to find now is my catapult. And I've got one here, but I think the Duke's probably had the other one. Oh no. No, he hasn't. No, in fairness, here it is. You, hold it right there. Have this. Bosher. Missed his brain by about an inch there. Brilliant. What I was going to say before you so rudely interrupted me, Sir Em, was that what I can't work out, mate, is the angling industry can make live view systems, it can make the most sophisticated electronics, lures like you've never seen before, and yet they can't make a catapult with an elastic that doesn't snap after about 3 pulls. Ridiculous, isn't it?
So there you go, mate. We've had our breakfast. We're about to go down, and you're about to indulge in quite a great deal of buffoonery, really, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, but that's my speciality, buffoonery, really. I mean, anybody can accidentally cast into the tree on the far bank. When you're trying to make a precise cast, I mean, it could happen to anybody. But it just happened to me that day. There was a few antics where I made a fool of myself missing umpteen strikes, thinking they were eels and they were the carp nibbling away at the worms.
I remember that, the silver paper incident.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, though, it was predictable that we would get a carp. We didn't want to bag up and just catch loads of carp. wouldn't be within the spirit of the race, really. We could have caught probably £200 a carp, but we caught one just to get the points. But there was other species in Furnace Mill. There was chub and tench, but they're not easy to catch just by the fact that they're outnumbered. And as Matt worked out a way of catching the chub, a great way of catching chub, slow sinking maggots on the surface, under the surface. And I've got to say that I just put a worm on in the end, ostensibly fishing for eels, but I knew anything would pick up the worm. And of course, carp, and what loves a worm, a tench, and I got a tench as well. So, I think we came away, well, not only with a good breakfast, but with a good haul of fish as well.
So here we are, folks. We're near the end of the journey now, winding our way down through these roads. It's been an epic journey, but a really, really enjoyable one. And we have got a last challenge, but we'll come on to that in a moment. For the time being, we'll just concentrate on reaching the coast. Here we are, we leave Furnace Bill on an optimistic wave and we're heading down to Falmouth, which I'm really excited about. I can see that the end is in sight, but I've got to be honest, Mick, I don't know about you, but I felt quite sad because it was the last episode and you could see the clock ticking away.
Yeah, I love fishing. I just wish we'd have carried on. And looking back, we made 6 episodes. I just wish it was like the old days where the budget was there. We could have made 12. I think we were just getting into our stride by the 6th one, weren't we?
Yeah. I think that's a great point. Actually, I think we were. We did ace it, but it wasn't easy. I'd say we were probably more tactical about it than on previous rod races, because we knew that whereas on previous rod races a certain amount of youth had allowed us to kind of just barge our way through the bad times, we knew that at our age you've got to pace yourself a little bit and box a bit smart rather than just going all guns blazing. So I thought our game management was spot on all the way through. We actually achieved the objectives we set out to do. But I think for me, this series has got more layers of different things. Our relationship is very strong in it, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's going to happen because we've made getting on for 100 films together, and that has built up, with each series that we've done, and. But you coined a phrase. You said, I'm just about race ready now. After being on the road for a while, you said, I'm really ready now. But and it was a bit sad that it had to end, But what a way to end, Matt. We had a day at the seaside. We had a laugh, and it was just that feeling that we've achieved it, we've done it, all the problems of getting the money, organising it, and it's almost like the pressure had drained off us, But no, I look back on it, the same as you, Matt, with fond memories, and I think it was really worth us, revisiting what we used to do, and knowing that we can still do it, even though we're getting on a bit.
Yeah, and of course with Falmouth, there was a certain holiday atmosphere because we knew, I mean, we got there and it was pretty obvious that we were going to catch a wrasse. All we had to do was catch a new species of fish that we hadn't caught before. And so for me and Mick, I'd actually caught wrasse in Norway, but I'd never caught one in Britain. So it was a first. And we got that done with the help of John Locker of Fishing Locker fame, who was a great guy to work with. Extremely professional. We knew he'd put us on the fish, and he did. But there were some great moments that were unscripted. Just take a look at this one.
Well, Sir M, are you going to let it go?
Well, I'm going to risk being washed out to the Atlantic Ocean. Ah, bloody hell. I wasn't expecting that. Well, I'm wet enough now, so...
Oh, dear God. Honestly, your capacity to entertain never leaves you, does it?
I'm wet from the waist downwards.
Go on, put it back, you silly old sod.
Let's
Go
put
on.
it back before the next big wave comes.
Well done, mate.
Off you go. Off you go. Go on.
Go, baby, go. Swim. Run, Forrest, run.
In my view, it's the best series of RodRace that we filmed because I think there's more of us in it, more of us as people. The atmosphere is slightly different. It might be perhaps a little bit less rushed in terms of the way we go about it, but it's old bull, young bull for me. And so there's a certain amount of satisfaction in that. But it wasn't a perfect sheet. I should have caught a carp at Homersfield, I think. It was a bit of sod's law I didn't, because I didn't fish badly. It's just that, it's just one of those things. Sometimes it happens. But for me, that was a missed opportunity, not catching the carp at Homersfield.
Yeah, I think for me, I could have done better on the Trent. I spent far too much time messing around with the mini species, and I did neglect the eel and the zander. I should. I did make an attempt, if you remember, Matt, to go try different swims for zander, but I don't know. It was hard going. Some of the banks were quite difficult to get up and down, and the trouble with zander is they can be very localised. And if I'd have kept moving like I would have on a normal session, I probably would have dropped onto a zander. But there is a problem there because the cameraman can't follow both of us around all the time. I might have been half a mile away when I caught a zander. And, these are the restrictions we work under. It's not like the perfect day fishing when you go pleasure fishing. We're probably only actually fishing for 4 hours in the day. So I wouldn't have any concerns that I don't think we could have done any better than we did, if I'm honest.
No, I'm just saying that maybe if I had to pick that one thing. The other one that I think probably you're not going to like me for really pushing you on this, but now that you've got it in the rear view mirror, which do you think is the best episode?
Wow, that is a tough one. Taking everything into account, I think the Loch Ken one is, to be honest. I just, a fantastic location, a variety of species, and maybe we never showed it to its full effect, but it's a venue with incredible potential. I mean, we never really talked about the bream shoals. When we were on the bream shoals, they were bubbling around us as far as you could see. I realised we were on a mega shoulder bream, and that started me thinking, what's eating those bream? There's going to be some very big pike in there eating those bream. It really inspired me, and if it wasn't the fact that it's 300 miles from my home, I'd probably go and fish there again. And the frustration of seeing the potential and not having the time to tap it, I mean, there's lots of big perch to be caught in there, but time was against us. We got to get something in the bag to get us on our journey. So yeah, for me, and of course the start of the series, we had the glorious weather as well, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
And you know, and then it sort of got worse and worse. So yeah, Loch Ken for me. I love the place.
Well, I mean, obviously, people are going to expect me to choose mine. I'd say it's a toss-up between 3 and 4, and which is weird because obviously in episode 3 we were very limited in terms of what we could achieve with the challenge, whereas episode 4 was just about that one moment, But I think our filming of the Broads, the fishing, the banter, the wisdom, and the candid moments. For me, I think probably I'd say Ep 3 maybe. 2's a contender though. I think 2's a very strong episode. I mean, if I look at the average viewing figures for each of the episodes, I can tell you that the viewers agree with that. But anyway, mate, I think this has been a really successful chat for us and also for everyone, hopefully, back at home. We've tried to rattle through it as best as we can. If you haven't seen Ultimate Rod Race already, it is on this channel exclusively. You won't find it anywhere else. It's not on television, even though it is of great television quality. From a technical perspective, it is, of course, much better than the original Rod Races. And for the reasons that we've explained, whether you agree that it's the best Rod Race or not, I don't think the fact that it's a contender, in my opinion, it is just about. But you'll make up your own mind by watching the series. There is a playlist here on the channel which has got all 6 one-hour episodes contained in it. And with that, folks, this will be the first of a number of chats that I'll be having with the Duke on different subjects. We thought we'd start with Ultimate, but next time around we'll be discussing our fishing careers, some of the on-screen moments, some of the off-screen moments, etc, etc, etc. But for now, I'd just like to say to my great friend the Duke, Sir M, thanks very much for doing this, of course, and it's been wonderful to catch up with you, my friend.
Yeah, it's been great having a chat as usual, Matt, and thanks to everybody for listening in. I hope you've really enjoyed it.
Thanks, everyone, and tight lines.